Brilliance Audio presents The Hollows by Mark Edwards, performed by Guy Mott. As Connie and David took it in turns to tell me the story of what had happened here almost exactly 20 years before, the hairs stood up on the back of my neck, as if someone was standing behind me, blowing cool air onto me through pursed lips.
So it was July 1999. Connie said. The anniversary is this month, in fact, the 26th.
This used to be a much more basic campground, said David. A place to pitch tents or park your RV. None of these fancy cabins. It wasn't a resort.
It was popular with schools, like the one that was staying here the week in question. Went Middle School, out of Portland.
And it was closed down immediately after what happened. What did happen? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. Over the next 30 minutes, the butlers told me in unnerving detail what had happened. Eric Daniels was a 38-year-old English teacher, married with 2 children. He was described by those who knew him as a great guy, bookish but a big baseball fan. A man who was as comfortable doing home improvement as he was debating the finer points of To Kill a Mockingbird. He seemed a little too good to be true to me. And of course, he wasn't perfect, because he had apparently been having an affair with his co-worker, Sally Fredericks. Eric had been bludgeoned to death with a heavy object, probably a rock. He had died of blunt force trauma. Sally died by strangulation. As David and Connie told the story, a question formed in my head. It was horrible, yes, but murder was not uncommon, even double murders. Why was this slaying so notorious? Why had it brought all these dark tourists flocking to this place? I was about to voice the question when Connie said,
Here's where it gets weird. At the center of the clearing is this huge, flat rock. The bodies were left lying across the rock.
Head to toe, said David. What? They'd been laid out so his head was by her feet and vice versa. But that's not the weird part.
There were symbols painted on the rock beside their bodies,
Connie said. What kind of symbols? David's eyes widened with excitement. The Horned God.
And the Triple Goddess,
said Connie. Unlike her husband, she said it in an almost reverential tone, serious and unsmiling. I blinked at them. What are they? Satanic symbols?
It's more pagan, Connie said. They're 2 of the primary Wiccan deities.
The Horned God represents male power, said David. He's the Lord of life.
And death,
said Connie.
The Triple Goddess represents the divine feminine. They were kind of crudely etched, but all the experts agreed that's what they were meant to be.
So this was, I was loath to say it, some kind of offering. A sacrifice.
That's the theory, she replied. It only took the cops a few hours to figure out who did it,
Connie said, bringing me back to the real world. His name was Everett Miller, David said. Everett Miller was the local weirdo, David said. The guy that everyone whispered about or laughed at when he went by.
He had long hair and dressed all in black, Connie said. He wore makeup and had piercings all over his face.
And he was into black metal, David said. All these crazy-ass bands out of Norway and Finland or wherever. There was this one band he was into, Wolfspear. All their songs were about blood sacrifices and murder and burning churches. Real X-rated horror film stuff. It was banned, but Everett had a videotape that he'd imported from Norway. He had the band's symbol painted on the back of his leather jacket, too.
The police thought it probably wasn't planned, Connie said, or not properly thought through anyway.
So what happened to Everett Miller? I asked. Does Maine have the death penalty? No, it doesn't, David said, But it wouldn't have mattered in this case anyway, because they never caught him. The night of the murders, he disappeared. Connie leaned forward.
And no one ever saw him again.